And PH Keith, who I know is playing quite a bit. He was actually the one to break the Hunt 2.0 leaderboards and score 100,000 points or something. And he was literally above Gold Destroyer. He scored so many points. But that's the team to look out for. I think today the Dome Destroyers are my team of choice right here, just based off of looking at the roster.
They did really well, and I believe yeah, that was their team of. They are actually playing in the Battlefight Cup today, so they're actually still playing at the moment. But yeah, so we're looking at this team. So we're going to be going with Inspector Cabot versus Exploding Race first, correct?
I believe that is what we're doing. Inspector Cabot versus Exploding Wraiths is up first in the upper bracket. Which team just played in TGL? Was it Dome Destroyers?
Yeah, I think they're still
Dome
playing.
Destroyers just played in
right
TGL.
No, not TGL, but the Battlefight.
Just finished. Yeah, Battlefight. Dome Destroyers just played in Battlefight. Now they're playing in TGL. Luckily, the PS4 Battlefight ended literally 25 minutes ago, 10 minutes before we started TGL, and I am exhausted. I haven't gotten a chance to eat today. I had to not only cast Battlefight on PS4, but then I was coordinating with people to cast the monthly finals, but we didn't do that because apparently the dildos dropped out and ESL admins and stuff like that. And then I was talking to Tara on Twitter, and then I was talking to people about TGL, and then I was getting emails, and then I had to coordinate for my team who entered Battlefight because my team co-captain didn't coordinate that for himself and talking to all the other teams. So I've literally just been all over the place all day today. But we are here with TGL. Thank you guys for joining in on the stream. Once again, Inspector Cabot versus Exploding Wraiths is going up first. I believe these matches are being played simultaneously, right?
Are they? I thought they were playing sequential.
I heard Brandon talking in the TeamSpeak about matches being played. I don't know if they mean both sides or
I
if
think they mean both sides.
teams.
Both sides. Dome Destroyers and LFC will be playing at the same time as Exploding Race and Inspector Cabot, just because of the delay in start time today.
Yeah, and of course both these teams are European, so we don't want them sitting around just chilling, waiting while it's
like 10
I
o'clock
believe
at night,
9
or 10.
Yeah, 9 in the UK, 10 o'clock in some other parts of Europe. So I'm sure they're getting real tired. I know I am. I haven't fed myself today, but we're here to bring you guys some Hot Evolve action coming up in just a moment. Once the teams get set up, these European teams, I believe Troll. I know Troll's an American player. I don't know about Keith. I think Keith, Mini, and Dead Rebirth are Europe.
Yeah, they're Europe.
Yeah, so I believe Troll might be the only American player in TGL today.
Maybe.
He's in Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe. I don't actually know where Troll is, but I know the rest of them are EU, so if that's true, then yeah, that would make him the only NA person.
But for those of you looking for the brackets, I can give you guys a link in the chat instead. Those are the team listings, and the teams who are playing are Exploding Wraiths versus Inspector Cabot. On the lower bracket, we got Dome Destroyers versus LFC, and the winner of those two games are going to play in the finals.
Yeah, so, and we're looking forward to see what they do today, especially with bans. We've been seeing some unique bans. However, Griffin, Sunny, and Val all have an extremely high ban rate, along with Kraken. However, today, especially with some of the monsters that are playing, I'm feeling we're going to see more Goliath or Meteor Goliath bans just in that change.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Goliath last week. I believe the only Goliath we saw last week in TGL was Aurora Symphony's Kraken. Non-Goliath was Aurora Symphony's Kraken. I believe all other monsters, Deanna played a lot.
Survived with 1 HP.
Yeah, he survived with 1 HP left. They couldn't save Jesus against JSMS. So they are going to be we might see a lot more Goliath bans because of the prominence of Goliath last week in TGL. That's the cool thing about TGL's rule set is it's a self-correcting meta. If you see a lot of monster from one team and that's really beating you, you might start banning that monster instead. See a lot of hunters, one particular hunter comp, you might start banning that. And then once people adapt to that, then the bans are going to adapt to that. So basically, everyone's just got to be able to play lots and lots of different characters in order to be viable players here in TGL.
Which right now we are actually starting the ban phase. Like, bans are starting right now. Right now they're deciding on which ban they want to go forward with, so that's kind of where we are. We have a new ban system. It might look exactly similar to it. The Rogue Val picture will be updated for next week. You might also notice that Griffin is now spelled correctly.
Griffin, yes, indeed, is no longer Griffon. Although I really did like that. But yeah, we do have the updated roster here for all of the new hunters, including Rogue Val, but we don't have Blitz Markov and Gorgon yet.
Blitz Markov and Gorgon aren't allowed in TGL yet because they're still waiting to finalize if it's balanced. They're waiting for like the community to decide if they are ready to play. Rogue Val has been agreed upon, and everyone said that they think that it's a great decision. So Rogue Val is now allowed. We're looking at, like, based off of what we're seeing, like preliminary discussions, we're all saying that Blitz Markov is fine. Gorgon is still not, because just everyone agreed that Gorgon needs a little bit of work before it's being considered competitively viable, let alone like competitively fair play.
So, but once we do drop those in, that will be pretty exciting. We're
Exactly.
getting the bans right now in just a moment.
We're just waiting for it live, and the first ban is actually going to be on Kraken.
All right, and for those of you who don't know how TGL picks and bans work just yet, let me lay it down for you. We have a monster ban right off the bat. Hunter class is chosen. The opposite team who's playing the monster gets to ban a hunter from that class. Then a hunter is picked from that class. Repeat for all hunter classes, and the monster is picked at the very end. The advantage to this is the monsters get to see all of the hunters who they're going up against before they pick their monster, but they can't pick the monster that was initially banned in the ban pick phase, which means that while he can see the hunters who are being picked, the hunters selected those hunters, keeping in mind that they didn't have to play against that monster.
So yeah, the next ban, of course, is going to be Jack. So that'll make that be the next ban.
Jack. So Trapper was picked first, Jack was banned, and now they're going to pick a Trapper, is how it works. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, the Trapper. And I finally got myself, by the way, in the chat here so I can read off the bans for you guys. Oh, we do have a nice little increased production. We got the check marks and X's going in so that the people can visually see what's going on screen. And you know what? You know why this is possible? This new little graphic we got going here. Crow was picked. It's possible thanks to your guys' donations from the Patreon.
Yeah,
thank you very much to those who've donated from Patreon. We're able to up the production a little bit. And, of course, the prize pool has been increased. So, once again, Kraken has been banned, Jack has been banned, and Crow has been picked. Next up, they're going to do a medic pick. Now, with Crow in mind, well, actually, I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough, and I actually don't know who's playing Monster to be able to determine or predict what hunter is going to be picked, but I'm almost certain they're going to ban Val, and indeed, Val has been banned by Inspector Cabot.
So,
I believe Inspector Cabot.
We look at Inspector Cabot right now. It's interesting that they chose to go with the Val ban, because, of course, now with Val, you also have Rogue Val as an option, and then you still have Kyra and Slim is the AoE, like, healing. If you want to go with Laz, you can. You're probably going to be going against a Goliath with Laz, which means a lot of Flame Breath and other such abilities to reveal, which means it's probably not ideal scenario. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do is in regards to their medic pick. They still have Rogue Val as an option, which is why banning Val, like, right now, because you still have that variant available. It's going to be interesting to see which one they choose.
Yeah, I would say Val and Rogue Val are the most different of the adaptations so far. Meteor Goliath and Goliath, pretty similar. Blitz Markov and Markov, differences, but pretty similar. I would say Rogue Val and Normal Val, completely different. Her passive is something we haven't seen in any other character in the game, as well as her med gun chaining and the poison darts not having trank slows is huge. And that's one reason a lot of hunters pick Val is because Val's got that CC that not a lot of other medics have. And there's no other medic that can literally slow a monster's movement.
Especially like with how effective those tranks are, it's super effective, you could say, against any monster, just being able to make sure they can't run or chase down. So if they're relying on those heavies to come in, they're going to have that much of a harder time getting them in order to get the finishers. Like you'll see a lot of the time when a hunter survives with just 1 HP while the monster's tranked, that's because the heavy wasn't able to finalize, or instead they got a light attack at the longer range. And Rogue Val was actually picked, so we're looking at Rogue Val getting her first play in the TGL at this point.
Rogue Val is on deck, and support is being picked next. Rogue Val, very, very high damage medic, I would say, relative to Laz, Kyra, and Normal Val. I think second only to Slim. I'm not sure. I don't have hard numbers, but Slim and Rogue Val definitely adding some solid, notable damage to your team. Much more so than the other medics, who I don't really think do much damage at all. Kyra did get a slight buff to her napalm nades, but still not a notable amount of damage. We have 240 damage if all your snipers hit on 1 times multiplier, so that means not limbs and not headshots. Headshots, of course, do extra damage. That's 240 damage if all 3 of your sniper shots land, and the poison does 240 damage over time, and that really stacks. I'm averaging about 8,000 damage on a longer game for Rogue Val, and that's a notable amount of damage for a medic to put out, whereas on Kyrie, you're not doing nearly as much as 8,000 damage.
Yeah, especially when you look at normal Val, most of her damage is coming out of the circle reticle, so they have to make sure they're getting those
Yeah.
headshots. It's kind of, if you're extremely accurate with Val and you can get those headshots regularly, like for instance if you're Red Panda or one of the other like Val medics, you'll be able to get those done regularly and you'll get a good damage increase. But that also depends on your assault, mainly making sure they're able to utilize it effectively, because they have to have perfect positioning in that case. And you're looking at someone like not a Hyde nor a Markov, you're looking at a Torvald Parnell, or maybe a Lennox if you're looking to combo it with that headshot, as opposed to if you look at Rogue Val, her ability to keep herself alive and do what she can to her teammates and deal damage at the same time. It's just a good balance in between them, as opposed to Val, which is more reliant on her teammates.
And real quick, I just want to mention, for you guys who are watching on any channel that is hosting the Gentleman's League, come over twitch.tv/the Gentleman's League. If you're watching still from Still Shampoo, I know we had a little more than 100 viewers earlier. If you guys are still over there and chatting, you are in the wrong chat. Come over to twitch.tv/the Gentleman's League. That is where everything's happening. A bunch of people hosted the stream, and I believe Seeds, you did too, right? So if
Yep.
you're watching it from Seeds' channel, then come over twitch.tv/the Gentleman's League.
I'm
Anyway,
watching
once
you guys
again,
get out of there and get over here.
yeah, I see some people in my chat. What are you guys doing? Come here. All right. So we do have a couple more picks here. We do have the support pick next. Sunny was banned, and the support pick is Hank. That's generally what we see. If Sunny's banned and they still want to be defensive, you'll pick Hank. And then Torvald was banned. Hyde was picked. And the monster is going to be Meteor Goliath.
So that's the lineup right now. We can look at what's getting picked up. We're seeing that Kraken was banned, and in response to the Rogue Val pick and Hank, they want to be able to make sure they can get a nice dispersed damage with the Meteor Goliath, which is why you're going to see more dots getting picked up by this. So that's what we're looking at right now. And continuing forward, like we're looking at this, like how do you think this is going to impact their gameplay or their positioning?
Now, the thing is, they picked, what was their trapper pick? Crow. So they got rid of Jack. They really don't have anyone on the chase team here. Val, Sunny, and Griffin are not in the game. Even though Griffin wasn't banned, they have no chase team, so they're really going to have to be trying to whittle down the monster here, because they have such a high damage team. You got Crow, who can clearly take the shot. Rogue Val, like I said, one of the higher damage medics. And our assault was Hyde going against Meteor Goliath. So we're going to be fighting fire with fire here, getting into the match in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Their positioning, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure what the map is going to be, the second map, because we do pick the second map after the first map was played. The loser gets to pick the second map. But the first map is going to be Orbital Drill. We find that to be just a very fair map to start things off with. All right, hop into the lobby.
So we are in lobby now. Like, one thing that I find interesting about this composition was you look at the Rogue Val pick, you look at the Crow, and you look at the Hyde. These are all very high damage compositions. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see a Cabot pick to try and make sure they're just out damaging the Meteor Goliath, because Meteor Goliath does have a lower burst damage. So when you're looking at that, you're seeing, hey, you know, maybe we can out-damage them so that way you don't have to worry about it, because his monsters play differently when they get to lower HP. Like, for instance, if you look at Nymph, somehow he becomes a god. So I don't know. But if you look at other monsters, some of them get a little bit more chaotic. They jump around. It's a nice little meta twist, like going with a higher damage. But it looks like they're going with Hank to try and be a bit more defensive to compensate for the Rogue Val choice.
Of course, Rogue Val, I would say, if I were to fight a monster with Rogue Val, I think I would pick Meteor Goliath, because Meteor Goliath is trying to spread out his damage relative to normal Goliath, who's trying to do some direct hits and really focus someone down. Rogue Val excels not in healing one person directly like normal Val, but instead keeping the entire team healed up. I find it's also a lot easier to keep Daisy healed up with Rogue Val, because someone is always getting beat up near Daisy, who is also injured, and instead of just focusing on healing Daisy and letting my teammate go down, I can spread the love, spread the healing, use the passive, and use the chain med gun. And with Meteor Goliath spreading out his abilities, and Rogue Val spreading out her healing, Meteor Goliath's not going to be able to focus someone down as well as normal Goliath, which is Rogue Val's weakness. Plus, of course, Rogue Val's got that damage to deter the monster away from the team. Of course, you're not only damaging the monster to kill it, I mean, that's kind of obvious, but you're also damaging the monster to deter him away and force him to play defensively. And by forcing him to play defensively, by breaking his armor faster, by choosing him to leave, that will, of course, keep your team safe and not